Hey, what's going on, guys? It's been a lot of things going on kind of like in my life type of lately. And I know I haven't been posting videos recently. I've been kind of so infrequent with the videos, but I'm trying to get a lot better with that. But anyway, man, yeah, in this video, guys, I'm gonna just be talking about kind of just where I feel just right now, and maybe, about my life, and maybe other people can kind of relate. So let's give you guys like a little bit of background story. Not too much of background, but I graduated university in 2024 after I came back from my internship in Japan, and I majored in a major that maybe I shouldn't have majored in. It wasn't necessarily the best decision of my life, but I felt pretty confident about it. And immediately after university ended, I was trying to apply for jobs, apply for jobs, apply for a whole bunch of jobs. I applied for like 3,000 jobs and I got nothing back of significance. Then finally, I remember in around August, my mom said that I should go up to this job fair near where we stay at. It was like a county over, so I went there, and pretty much within 5 minutes, I got a job. So it was pretty astounding after I had been looking for a job for all those months, and I finally had found a job just that like easily. Because I was even looking for like warehouse companies. I was looking for restaurant type of jobs, and no place was hiring. But long story short, I think that a lot of these places, yeah, they don't necessarily have like real job postings, so that's also an issue too. So to finish my story a little bit more, so I finally got into the job. I wasn't making that much. I was making maybe like 1,800 a month. So I wasn't making hardly any money. I barely had enough money to really do anything. And I'm still staying with my parents, and I was still staying with my parents at the time, right? So it was very difficult. It was cool on one end because I finally, got like a car, because I was finally able to, get a car and start paying for car payments. Because beforehand, beforehand, I didn't have like any vehicle, so I had to rely on my parents to take me everywhere. So pretty much around that first year of me having that job, I got a car. I got a car later in that type and later in that year in October. So that definitely benefited me a lot. Um, I'm not gonna lie, it did help with my happiness level, because this video, I'm kind of going all around the place talking about jobs and whatnot, but I think the main point of this video I want to express is happiness level. I felt like my happiness level definitely did increase after I got the car, because beforehand, I was landlocked. I had no way of going to any different parts of the city. I'm in Atlanta, by the way, so this is a very car-centric city. So I needed a car to get freaking from point A to point B, just to go to the freaking gym. To do anything, I need a car. So I felt like my happiness level did increase a decent amount. Like if I'm talking about like percentile levels, it was like from zero. It's gonna sound kind of bad, but my happiness level historically, because I had childhood depression. I was so fucking depressed in university because I was in the middle of nowhere. And that car actually was that first sense of real, true, maintained happiness, because it's not necessarily just having a car is what the car actually represented. So, I started going out with some of my friends as soon as I got a car, because I was kind of restricted beforehand because I had no way of getting around the city because I didn't have a car. So then I would go to places, but then I'd be dead broke. I'd be barely able to pay for hardly anything. You have to pay $20 for parking. You have to pay for $20 for entrance. And, young people, you're going to be drinking. So even if you're pre-gaming, you're getting some alcohol right before you go to the event. You're probably spending already $20 on getting like a vodka bottle. You're spending like an extra maybe $10 on getting like a chaser for the alcohol. And then you're gonna be doing all this convoluted shit just to get your drink on before you go in the club. And then when you get in the club, maybe even to maintain your alcohol level, you would get maybe a beer or two. So you're already out of like damn near, like I haven't been keeping track of the numbers, like, but it's like 47. You're out of damn near already $67 before you even really have done anything. And from my perspective, I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's me, maybe it's the city, but the city that I'm currently in, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm necessarily maybe a great fit for it, because I thought that having a car and being able to go out and finally being able to socialize with people my age in a non-college type of environment would kind of like help me a little bit more, because I went to a school, it was like in the middle of nowhere, it was like a mountain type of town. Like you walk by people and they wouldn't really say hi, or they would say hi, but then they would look just straight at the ground. So I didn't have like a really great socialization process. And then even beforehand, I went to a small elementary school, so I didn't have a great amount of experience in these other avenues while I was in school. So I thought that when I finally graduated university, I was gonna have that opportunity, which I did kind of to a certain extent, but I found out that everything that you can do, you have to pay a fee for everything. You have to pay for every single thing. And, you know, kind of like to fast forward away from like the teaching stuff as much. Yeah, like just in general, I just feel like with the cost of things, with how things are, you have to have money for damn near everything. You have to have money to go anywhere. So yeah, that was my first year as a parapro at that school. Then the second year, I became a teacher. And I was making a decent amount more money. I was making $3,200 after taxes per month. But before taxes, that was like $55,000 a year. After taxes equated to like $40,000 a year. But keep in mind, I did have pretty good health insurance. I had, I think, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I had pretty good dental insurance. I'm pretty sure that was through Blue Cross. Don't quote me on that, because I don't necessarily know how that necessarily works. It's like, it may be like some other sub company that it's under. But anyway, yeah, in that year, I was making $32,000 per month. After I took out for my like teacher retirement, I took out like $300 something. I think in total it'd be like $4,000 per month if it wasn't all the stuff that's being taken out for. So yeah, yeah, I was teacher for a year, and throughout that whole process, because there's this test that you have to take qualifications to become a teacher. So I'd be studying 2-3 hours after school. Well, keep in mind, I would be working for what, 7-8 hours dealing with the kids, because I dealt with a SPED classroom, that's special education, and they didn't give us really any time to do any of our paperwork. So a lot of times I would spend 2-3 hours after school doing the paperwork, doing the IP, doing the progress monitoring for the kids after school. And then I spend another 2-3 hours actually studying for the exams. So I'd be working like 60 hours per week. And I felt like I was very compressed as far as my life during that time period. I was super depressed. I didn't feel like I had like a lot of time to really do anything, because a lot of the weekends, I mean, bro, like a lot of the weekends, I would have to spend a lot of time fucking around doing the IPs. I couldn't really plan to go out. I couldn't really do a lot of shit. I felt like I was so freaking depressed. And then not even just that, I dealt with the administrators. They would always come to my classroom, monitoring me, asking me how am I teaching the kids, what's the proper instruction method, all this type of bullshit, right? But I'm not gonna get into too much details. I'll probably go into it on another video, because yeah, this is kind of like interesting type of story. But no, anyway, it's just so stressful with all the time restraints that I was expected to keep up with. And then on top of the fact that I had the exams, and I had to take all the exams, I had to get all the qualifications to become a teacher by a certain type of date, which I didn't end up passing that shit, because they said that I had to do it by At first they gave me the first deadline, which was December 5th. And then they extended it a little bit, and they said that, okay, before the end of this school, or at the end of this school year, by June 5th, if you don't pass it, then you're not going to re-qualify to become a teacher. But they said that basically, in order to do it, I had to pass it by June 5th. And that was a huge freaking fleet. There was no way I was going to be able to do that. So I felt like I was constantly squeezed at that job. And yeah, I didn't feel like I had enough time to really do things that I wanted to do, because I like to do other things. I like to learn languages. I like to go to the gym. I like to hang out with people. I like to socialize. And I wasn't really able to do a lot of that stuff because, first of all, for what I was working, maybe it's just me, but I feel like if you're working 50, 60 hours a week like that, you should be getting paid somehow overtime. I know that teachers get their initial salary, but I feel like that's one way that they finesse on the teacher's salary because they don't want to pay them properly. But I mean, I'm in the process right now, since I was able to keep that job, looking for another job, trying to figure out what I'm doing. I'm thinking about maybe even starting my own business, a mosquito company. I'm just figuring things out. But not even just that, I feel like my average everyday life came from being stressed to extremely bored. Because I feel like, I don't know, like it feels like there's a lot of components in my life personally. Maybe other people feel like that. It feels like there's a lot of like good components in my life. It feels like it's so hard to just connect them to actually have a good life, because I'm not gonna even lie. For most part, my day to day, I feel extremely bored. I don't feel like that motivated to really do anything. It's really like I'm just living through these major achievements that I'll pass every few months. And major achievements are fine, but my day to day, my life doesn't feel like it's that great. It doesn't feel like the lever is really moving like that. It feels like I'm moving in a generally okay direction, but I feel lost, to be quite honest, because if this is going to continue for the rest of my life, man, I don't know. It seems like extremely boring. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like kind of like lost in my life. I want to be able to, I don't know, like I feel kind of behind economically. I feel behind socially, like I don't have a lot of friends. I just feel generally kind of behind in a lot of ways, but not, I don't feel completely negative about it, but I just feel like, wow, I want to move forward, but I'm not really behind, because if you actually look at the statistics, a lot of people are doing fucked up, but it's hard not to feel that type of way, because even if I'm not behind, it just doesn't, it feels like there's just a lot of just, man, like my life just right now just feels extremely like boring. I don't know if other people are experiencing that same sort of thing. It just feels like a lot of things in general are so boring. Like you go to the movie theater, you'll spend money, you'll go out, you'll spend money, and there's not a guarantee that it's gonna be really that fun. You'll drink alcohol, you'll spend money on the alcohol, you'll spend money on the weed. I'm just gonna give you a story, like an example. I was really addicted to smoking weed every day. I wouldn't say I was addicted to drinking as much, but I did have a lot of fun in drinking and smoking and watching social media, specifically YouTube, all of this type of stuff. But I don't feel as much enjoyment of a lot of stuff anymore. I don't know if other people feel the same sort of way, but it just feels like I just don't get the same exact enjoyment off of things that I once used to be able to enjoy. And that's kind of sad, because I feel like I want my day-to-day life to be like a little bit more better. But yeah, guys, that's kind of it for the video for today. I just was kind of just talking about how I feel about life. I don't know if other people agree, but maybe this is a Gen Z problem. But yeah, that's just my perspective. I'll see you guys in the next video.